Thanks to everyone who is out there in cyberspace today listening to this career chat. Thank you so much for being a part of Explore Building Trades 2023 and this career chat. All attendees are muted, but we encourage you to use the chat function to ask questions or share comments. And I think Reagan already dropped this in the chat, but educators, please drop your school, class name, and numbers of students in the chat. If you're a student who's logging in from home, you can also indicate that in the chat. That would be great, so we know who's here. This session is scheduled for 15 minutes, and we've got a few questions for our guests, but we also welcome yours, so feel free to drop those in the chat. We want to thank all of our sponsors for 2023's Explore Building Trades, including our premier partner, St. Joseph Valley Building Trades Association. And you can find the full list of partners on the Building Trades landing page, along with many resources we hope you'll check out to learn more about the wide variety of building trades careers and education pathways in our region. There are lots of exciting careers available, which Sean is going to tell us about. So I'm Kate Lee. I'm the Executive Director of Education and Workforce for the South Bend Regional Chamber, and I'm excited to welcome Sean O'Brien, Executive Director at MACIAF, which is the Michiana Area Construction Industry Advancement Fund. Say that 5 times fast. And a presenting partner of Explore Building Trades 2023. He is our guest for this chat. So let's get started. Welcome, Sean.
Thank you, Kate. Happy to be here and talk to whoever's out in the virtual universe there.
You never know who might be out there listening. So
exactly.
So we're going to start with the tell me about yourself. Who are you? What's your position? And how did you get to where you are today?
So Sean O'Brien, Executive Director of MACIAF. It's an acronym that you walked us through, the Michiana Area Construction Industry Advancement Fund. We're a wing of the Michiana Builders Association, and that one's a little bit easier, I think, for people to understand. The Michiana Builders Association is an association of the large commercial contractors in the area that build many of the institutional buildings that we see, schools and buildings downtown South Bend, Notre Dame's facilities, and all of that. MACIAF as an organization is there to represent the construction industry. So exactly things like what I'm doing here today. We are here to help educate. We're here to advocate. We're here to represent. We do all kinds of things. My pathway into this entire industry was through architecture. I originally worked in the architecture field in this area for about 20-something years and got there through a high school shop class. I enjoyed being creative and I enjoyed art, and I took a hand drafting class that was part of shop, and I was sold. I wanted to be an architect. So there's a lot of different pathways into this universe of construction, whether you're out in the field, whether you're running your own construction company, project managers, estimators, architects, engineers. There's an entire universe of construction.
So that shop class, did you just know you had a skill set for it? Did you feel like you had to work hard to develop that, or where did you go after that? Like what made you think, here's what I'm going to apply for and do in school post-graduation?
So the interesting thing is that I actually started in engineering, and I was, quite frankly, a little bit bored by that and ventured into architecture and fell in love. So getting out of school, worked for a couple of different companies, had my own after that, and then this opportunity came along and just moved into a different aspect of it.
That leads perfectly into the next question, which is, what is the best part of your job and why do you go to work every day?
So I still have a passion about buildings. I don't 100% know why that is, but I really enjoy the idea of the art and design and the quality construction of a building. And Notre Dame is a great example. You can walk through some of their facilities and they're outstanding. I mean, they are built at a quality level and a finish level that's unbelievable. And there's a pride of place, I think, in all of that. There are many people that experience buildings at Notre Dame and, love those built environments. They love the impact of how that makes them feel. So I still enjoy that even from the construction side.
Wonderful. So what kind of advice do you have for students, traditional high school students, younger students, and also even adults who are interested in careers in the trades? What are the opportunities out there?
Well, opportunity is the number one word right now. We are seeing an unprecedented level of construction in our community. Notre Dame is certainly part of our community, but even pulling them out of the equation and just looking at the other work that's going on around us. The Four Winds Casino just built a 20 some odd story. I don't remember how tall.
It's huge.
It is huge. The Memorial Hospital will be starting a multi-patient bed tower project. There's a solar farm on the west side of St. Joe County. There's the potential for the battery plant on the west side of the county. There's just an enormous amount of construction. And quite frankly, there are not enough people to build it. And that's a major concern of ours. And so we're reaching out and saying, hey, there's a great opportunity here to build stuff. Join us. Join the ranks of whatever level you want to do.
So in case it's tricky to connect the dots, you mentioned the solar farm. Talk a little bit about how the trades are important to something like that. It's not a building, obviously. It's something different.
It's not a building, that's correct, but it's still intensive and technical. And the scale of it, I think it's about 2,000 acres. That's a lot of land to develop very quickly. So there will be multiple trades out there working in tandem together to put in the solar panels, to electricians to wire and power them. So there's just it takes a team. That's probably one of the biggest things in any construction project. The bigger the project, the bigger the team. The more players involved, the actual members that we need. And again, that circles back to opportunity. There's tremendous opportunity in our area in construction right now.
And that's where project management, the other things you talked about that aren't swinging a hammer or wiring something or the laying bricks, but the other pieces of the trade, how they're all so important. And
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
There's many pathways into construction. So absolutely. There is still the 4-year college version of entering construction, whether that be in architecture or engineering, whether that goes into construction management. Purdue and there's a couple other schools around that offer construction management degrees.
Ball State, my alma mater. Come on, man.
I'm sorry. Okay, Ball State offers construction management as well, and that's a college pathway. You enter in at a project manager level. You get to run those projects and coordinate with the owners and all of the trades involved and all of the subcontractors. And there are estimators that determine what the project should cost and how to go about pulling together all of the materials. Materials right now are a challenge in our inflationary economy to get the materials and get them on time. So there's a lot of coordination. There are different pathways to enter into ownership of a construction company. There are people that start as workers in the field and ultimately end up owning their own construction company. There are people that come in as management and they end up owning the construction company. So there's all kinds of opportunity there.
Excellent. So I'm going to remind people who are out there in the cyber world, if they have any questions, to please pop them into the chat because we are on kind of a limited time frame, but I am always game to keep asking questions as well. I don't see anything out there yet, but let us know if you have any questions because I'm going to move into what are the 3 takeaways you have for those tuning in?
I think number 1 is opportunity. I can't stress enough that if you want to get into construction, there's a pathway for you. Whether that's an apprenticeship through one of our building trades or again, pursuing a degree or just going straight into, some level of management. There's a unique and lucrative positions to be had. One of the things that our union trade partners bring to the table is a very strong living wage and a package that allows for retirement planning and health insurance and all of the things. You can with a little bit of overtime work or just diligent work in regular time, make a 6-figure salary in construction in the field, working in the field. That's very unique. I don't know too many opportunities that you can enter into that kind of money with no college degree. The other side, and I mentioned this a bit earlier, is it's rewarding. There's a pride in looking at a building, let's say on campus at Notre Dame or a hospital downtown that's literally saving people's lives and saying, I built that thing. I had a role in that thing. Those are just tremendous opportunities. So those are 3 takeaways: opportunity, lucrative, rewarding.
Excellent. So we're lucky in our area to have multiple building trades classes in our high schools. which is great. And some people may have taken those classes in high school, but are now adults looking to either change careers or move into something new. What kind of advice would you give an adult who'd be interested into maybe pivoting into the building trades when they've worked in another area? Maybe they've worked in manufacturing, maybe they've even worked in healthcare, but they always kind of liked fixing things. Or then there's still I think there's a lot of even young people who, are still exploring, because there are so many opportunities out there. So what would you say to somebody who is contemplating saying, I really like to build stuff and fix stuff. How could I get in even though I'm like 25, which we all know is not old, but it might be old to some of the people who are on this chat.
I think there's a pathway for anybody. You can approach, us at MACIAF, you can approach the building trades, you can reach out to our contractors directly. There is a pathway and an opportunity for anybody that chooses to get into this field. Again, the rewards of that are tremendous. And I think that some of the most important skills that people can bring are easy skills. They can be taught the construction side of things, but responsibility, attentiveness, paying attention and the detail and the craft of what you're doing. And anybody can have those skills. So there's no age limit to what you can do with all of this. I will point out, and I know the younger people that are the high school people that are listening probably won't care much about this, but you can retire early in a construction trade, pretty lucratively again. So, in your 50s and get out. So I encourage anybody that wants to reach out to any of the organizations that'll be involved in the Explore Building Trades through the chamber here, and we'll all help to point you in a direction that might work for you.
Are there any other pieces of advice that you would give to students who are just still gaining their skills, figuring out really which area of the trades is most beneficial to them, things that they could do in summers or in their off time, or even as part of the school experience that might help them figure out which path they might want to go down?
Well, there's kind of two questions there. I think one thing that they can do during the summers or anytime really is be exposed to it. The more you're exposed to construction and understand what it's all about and how it works, that is only going to be a benefit to you if you try to plug into this universe someplace and figure a pathway. And I kind of lost myself in that. You asked to restate that.
That's okay. We got a question in the chat, so we're going to go with that one. Is a high school diploma or a GED a requirement to get into the trades?
It is a requirement. So that is something that you want to do. Completing high school is important because there's a lot of things that are learned at a high school level that apply to life, period, and certainly to the construction industry. So yeah, absolutely get a diploma. If you can't make that pathway, a GED at any point will be important and will help you through it.
And we're really lucky in our area to have a really strong adult education system. So there are ways to get back in and get that diploma. You can get a diploma through the Excel Center. You can get your HSE through the adult ed program. And I think and they also do a great job in those programs of directing people into things like the trades, to know that it's not just about getting that diploma, but it's about that post-diploma certification or whatever that takes you to your next step that really makes the difference. The diploma's, getting the high school equivalency or diploma is a great foundational piece, but there's always a next step. Even after, you're going to learn forever. The world just keeps changing, right? So
the trades, the apprenticeship programs for the union construction trades require a high school diploma or GED to enter and go through that, 3, 4, 5 year apprenticeship program. But there are pathways in every construction trade that allow you in without that. You may not be able to make the apprenticeship pathway, but there's other pathways to it.
Excellent. And the apprenticeship pathways, but what I find really great about that whole system is you typically also end up with an associate's degree while you're going through your apprenticeship program.
Many of the trades offer that, not all, but absolutely. That's a wonderful piece of it. And the best thing that we try to communicate to people, if you get into an apprenticeship program, you will actually be working. So not only are you going through that program, we'll end up with an associate's degree, but you're getting paid while you're doing it rather than paying for it. And that's a very different pathway than the collegiate pathway. Very different.
So we have had a couple testimonials in the chat, somebody whose family members are electricians and also plumbing and water industry. So, there are a lot of great jobs. And I would say as an old house owner, I really need people to go into trades who will someday understand the knob and tube that I know is still in the walls in my house and my old plumbing. I need you to be able to fix it. So also a goal. It's completely
Yeah.
selfish. My completely selfish goal is old house maintenance, but big buildings are important too.
Well, you just brought up an interesting point that there's an aging out of the workforce in construction at this point. I mean, it's happening everywhere, but it's happening in construction as well. And there's a lot of knowledge and craftsmanship that's aging out with them. And so we encourage younger people to get involved and learn from these masters that know how to do things on technology and finishes and construction that doesn't exist except in certain areas anymore. But there's a desperate need for them.
Yeah. Well, our time is actually up, which I can't believe. The 15 minutes always goes incredibly fast. So thank you so much to Sean for your time and for sharing your story and your insights. Students, be sure, and educators, be sure to check out all the Building Trades career chats we'll be adding to the landing page to learn from other employers, educators, and community partners who are providing career pathway support and opportunities in our region. Also on the landing page, you'll find a business directory of businesses and who offer great opportunities for employment and educational opportunities as you think about what you will do post-graduation. So take a look at that and share what you find interesting with the adults in your life, because as we were discussing, there's always a time to go into the trades. You don't have to do that the minute you come out of high school. You can re-enter that, or you can go straight out of high school. There are many entrance points. So Absolutely. Thanks to everybody for being here today, and thanks to Sean.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Bye-bye.